Yeah, what up? Welcome in. It is the Nail in the Coffin podcast. I'm your host, Drayson Ball. Today on today's show, going to be talking a little bit about the NBA projections that have been coming out the last couple of days, specifically Kevin Pelton's projections for the win totals and the Vegas over/under win totals as well. Going to be diving right into that, coming up with the NBA season right around the corner. And I'm also going to be giving you my AFC North predictions on today's show, talking a little bit of football here, right on the eve of the football season, seemingly. But let's start right away with the NBA regular season projections. These came out a couple days ago, last 2 days, I believe, 2 or 3 days, have been coming out with the NBA over/under win projections. Most notably, Kevin Pelton and also Vegas came out with their projections, I believe, yesterday. On Monday, but yeah, I thought they were super interesting. I thought they were really interesting. I'm going to start with Kevin Pelton's first. Kevin Pelton, a very respectable kind of NBA analyst, I guess you'd call him. I don't know if you'd call him an analyst or journalist or whatever you might want to call him, but an NBA insider nonetheless. Talking about the NBA win totals, he's got the most notably. We'll start with the Western Conference. Obviously, the Golden State Warriors. He has at 58.6 wins. No surprise there. But then the biggest surprise, I believe, in the entire projections, he has the Utah Jazz with 53.4 wins in second place in the Western Conference. Not a crazy pick. Not a ridiculously crazy pick. The Jazz had a tremendous season last year, and with Rudy Gobert healthy for the entire season, certainly could get to 53, 54 wins. That's where they were projected to, at least with Rudy Gobert in the lineup for the entire season. He did miss about 26 games or so last year. Not a crazy projection. Right behind him, Houston, obviously, with in third in the Western Conference with 53 wins. But most notably also as well, the Lakers are somewhat surprisingly, I guess, missing from the playoff picture. He has them at 9th, 41.2 wins for the LA Lakers, led by the King, LeBron James. Yeah, that's strange. I mean, it's just weird, I guess, to think about, a LeBron James-led team not making the playoffs. I mean, we've been spoiled for the last 15 years of him, in the Eastern Conference with the Heat and then most notably the Cavaliers, just almost like as if it was a cakewalk to the NBA Finals, and then to not see him even projected to be in the playoffs, it's just kind of weird to me. I don't know if I agree with the Lakers not being in the playoffs. I don't know. I just feel like even with LeBron James, they don't have the greatest roster. Let's not kid ourselves. They don't have the best roster. They don't have the greatest roster. But I do think they're good enough to get into the playoffs. I mean, I know the Western Conference is by far the superior conference, right? I mean, we know that, right? There's no doubt about it. There's no arguing that. But to not even make the playoffs for a LeBron James-led team. Now, I guess Kevin Pelton maybe is thinking that LeBron James will take a step back, right? He's coming off his 15th season, in which he had a tremendous season, one of the best seasons, if not his very best season of his career. So maybe Kevin Pelton's thinking he will take a step back and not be the LeBron James we saw certainly last year, if not the rest of his career. But even still, even if he's 90%, I personally don't think he will take a step back. I think he will be the LeBron James that we've come to know over the previous 15 seasons, especially last season. And he overcame a lot of obstacles. Let's not kid ourselves. He overcame a lot of obstacles last year. I mean, he had Isaiah Thomas was injured to begin the year, and then that whole, obviously the trade with Kyrie, and basically dealing with, half of the roster was new players. Jay Crowder, Isaiah Thomas, Cedi Osman, all these new players. So I had to, first of all, gel with them. And then the trade deadline comes, and he's got to deal with a bunch of new players because they shipped everyone else out of town. So he had to go through a lot last season. So he's no stranger to, playing with new players and adapting to new players, right? We know that. So I guess it'll be fun to watch. It'll be really, really fun to watch. I personally think the Lakers will make the playoffs. I do. And we'll talk a little bit about that. The Vegas win totals have them placed in 4th, for what it's worth. And Vegas is Vegas. I mean, they have no bias. They're into money. I mean, they have the Lakers at 48.5 wins. 48.5 wins. Kevin Pelton only has them at 41.2. Yeah, 48.5 for the Lakers. It seems reasonable to me. Now, they could get to 50 if Brandon Ingles, or sorry, Brandon, if they're guys like, Lonzo Ball, Kyle Kuzma, Brandon Ingram is the name I was trying to think of. If they step up and play better, right? They could get to 50 wins. Now, it'll be tough. It'll certainly be tough. But I do think they're a playoff team. Also, the Spurs, 38.5 wins via Kevin Pelton. This is Kevin Pelton saying that the Spurs will have 38.5 wins. Compare that to Vegas saying they'll have 43.5. So, Kevin's a little lower on the Spurs and the Lakers than Vegas is. Interesting. Really, really interesting. As far as the Eastern Conference goes, the Eastern Conference is, I guess you could say it's wide open with LeBron James gone. I obviously the Raptors are going to be great. I think the Kawhi Leonard trade is really, really intriguing to me. I don't know what we'll see from Kawhi Leonard. I think he'll go back to who he was in San Antonio. I really do. And then you got Boston. Obviously, Boston's going to be tremendous. I think it's really going to be a 2-horse race, maybe a 3-horse race with Philadelphia. We'll see what they get out of Joel Embiid. He was bizarrely healthy last season. If they can get that kind of health from Joel Embiid this season, I think they'll be very, very fortunate. I just saw that their new draft pick Zaire Smith has a fractured foot, so he's probably going to be a kind of a red shirt type of deal again, as we've been coming to know with the 76ers. But yeah, the Eastern Conference, I mean, Kevin Pelton has the Raptors at 55.1 wins. Vegas has them at 54.5 wins. So, I mean, they're pretty much saying that they're going to finish with about 55 wins. The biggest discrepancy, though, however, is with the Boston Celtics. Really interesting, the Boston Celtics. Kevin Pelton has them with 53.2 wins in second place in the Eastern Conference, and Vegas has them at 57.5 wins. So about 4 wins difference between Kevin Pelton's projections and the Vegas over-unders. Interesting. I think Boston's going to be really good. I think Boston is going to be really, really good. Now, are they good enough to beat the Warriors? I don't know. It's certainly possible. They have a great coach. They have a tremendous coach. Brad Stevens is unbelievable. He's really, really good. They're going to get Gordon Hayward back from injury. They're going to get Kyrie Irving back from injury. We saw what Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown did last season. They're going to be really good. Don't kid yourself. They're going to be really, really good. Also, he's got the Detroit Pistons sneaking in. This is Kevin Pelton. I'm going basically off of Kevin Pelton. I'm going back and forth with the NBA win totals. I don't know. I like Kevin Pelton's numbers better. I don't know. It's the same. They're about the same. I don't know. But Kevin Pelton has the Detroit Pistons sneaking into the playoffs this year. It's really interesting. Look at Kevin Pelton's over-under win projections. He's got 2 teams in the Eastern Conference. I guess one team really, the Detroit Pistons, with 39 wins. So an under 500 team in the Eastern Conference could make a playoff spot. Under 500. And in order in the Western Conference to get in, you got to be over 500 to get into the playoffs. At least over 500. If not 3 or 4 games over 500 to get into the playoffs. Just really, really a crazy discrepancy between the 2 leagues. Really, really unbelievable. But yeah, I mean, Vegas is usually pretty accurate. I don't know if I agree a lot with the Vegas over-unders in some cases. They have the Golden State Warriors, for instance, at 62.5 wins. I just don't see it. I mean, we saw them last season. They just did not care about the regular season. They just didn't care. I don't think they're going to care any more this season than they did last season. I mean, they won the title last season, and I don't think you're going to get them to care about the regular season any more this season than you did last season. I just don't see 62.5 wins. I don't think they care about getting first place in the Western Conference. I don't think they care about getting first place or home court advantage for the finals. I don't think they care. I think it mattered to Houston last season to get home court advantage in the Western Conference playoffs over the Warriors, because I think that's one of the things that they thought they could, use to beat them was to get home court advantage. But I don't think it matters to the Warriors. I don't think it matters. But I don't see them getting to 62.5 wins. Is my biggest point. Now, do I see them being in first place in the Western Conference? Yeah, probably. I think Houston will take a step back. Vegas has them at 54.5 wins. I think they take a step back. They just signed Carmelo Anthony, which is an interesting, weird signing for them, considering his and Carmelo Anthony's and Mike D'Antoni's past in New York. Really, really interesting. I don't know how that'll work out, but I don't think they got better. I just don't think they do. I don't think they're better. They lost Luka Mbamute and Trevor Ariza, one of their more important players. You don't kid yourself. Don't kid yourself. He's one of their more important players, for sure. For sure. And they lost him. They lost another good perimeter defender, Luka Mbamute. I think they take a step back. Also, he has the Lakers and the Jazz. This is Vegas now I'm talking. Lakers and the Jazz have them both at 48.5 wins in fourth place in the Western Conference, followed by the Thunder, who Vegas has projected to win. Let me see here. The Oklahoma City Thunder, 50.5 wins for the Thunder, third place in the Western Conference. I don't know if I see it from the Thunder as well. As more and more as I think about it, I don't think it's that unrealistic for the Utah Jazz to take second. Really, I don't. I mean, you think about it, they're bringing back the same team, virtually the exact same team, except for Jonas Jerebko, which, is he a difference maker? Probably not. They're bringing back virtually the exact same team, and they were one of the hotter teams in the second half last season, one of the hottest teams in the league. I mean, if you take their second half numbers, right? Their second half numbers, and project them out over 82 games, they're a 54-win team. They're a 54-win team. Simple as that. Now, we can argue till we're blue in the face whether that puts them ahead of the Rockets, whether that puts them ahead of the Thunder. I certainly think it does. I think it does. But Vegas is usually pretty accurate. And they have them tied for fourth place with the LeBron James-led Lakers. That would be a tremendous first round matchup, wouldn't it, though? The Utah Jazz and the LA Lakers. LeBron James-led Lakers. That'd be really interesting. Really, really interesting matchup. I'd pick the Lakers, by the way, in that series. I would pick the Lakers against the Jazz in a 7-game series. I just think LeBron, I just cannot see him not making the playoffs. I personally think the Lakers are probably going to be about 5th or 6th in the standings. That's kind of where I see them. But I don't see them missing the playoffs. I just don't. I just do not. I do not. So those are the NBA win total projections. Really interesting stuff. Really, really interesting stuff. Obviously, we kind of know who the bottom feeders are. The Hawks are projected to win the fewest games in the league. Over and under 23.5 wins for the Hawks. The Sacramento Kings, not much better, 25.5 wins. Phoenix Suns, 28.5 wins. kind of just the same teams that we've been seeing for the last 3 or 4 years. They have Cleveland winning 30.5 games, which is interesting. Really, really interesting. I just really think I'm really excited to see. I don't know if excited is the right word, but interested in seeing the Cleveland Cavaliers this season without LeBron. If they can get to 30 wins, I'll be surprised. Still having Kevin Love, which is they still have Kevin Love. We'll keep it there. We'll keep it there. But as far as the rest of the roster goes, without LeBron, I don't see much coming from them. I would bet the under on 30.5 wins. But that's me. That's me. So, wanted to transition into this now. Obviously, NFL regular season is right around the corner. I'm getting pumped. I'm getting really excited for the NFL season. A big NFL fan. Really, really excited for the NFL season. I'm going to go through each division. Each division in the NFC and the AFC, and kind of just give my projections, my concerns for the teams, my predictions, I guess, who's going to win the division, who's going to win X amount of games, the records. I'm going to go through all that, talk a little bit about that. And we'll start with, as I mentioned, the AFC North. We'll start with the AFC North. And no surprise here, I don't think. I have the Steelers winning the AFC North. I think the Steelers are going to be really good this year. The Steelers are going to be really, really good this year. I don't love what's going on with Le'Veon Bell. I don't. But if I can try to find the positive in all this situation, is that his contract is kind of resolved. I mean, he kind of has come to terms with that this is going to be the last season he's going to play in Pittsburgh. So maybe that whole, contract talk, whatever it may be, might be out of his mind this season. It might not be a distraction in the locker room because he knows this is his last season. Maybe. I don't know. You never really know with Le'Veon Bell. You never really know. But I think they're going to be really good. I think they're going to be really, really good. I like Big Ben. I do like Big Ben. And they've just got all kinds of weapons. All kinds of weapons. I mean, we talked about Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster. I mean, they just got weapons after weapons on that roster. I think they're going to be really good. And I love their schedule. Their schedule's okay. I love their schedule early. It's got a pretty workable schedule early. They go at the Browns and then host the Chiefs, and then they go at the Buccaneers and then host the Ravens. I think that I can see them going easily at least 4-0 to begin the season. At the Browns, at the Bucs, and then home versus the Chiefs and the Ravens. Now in week 5, they do host the Falcons, and that's going to be a really good game as well. That one's going to be a really good game. I do think they'll win that game though. I could honestly see the Steelers starting the season at least 8-0. I really, really could. They play the Panthers in week 10 at home. But then they have to go on the road at the Jaguars and then on the road to the Broncos. That Jaguars matchup is a circle your calendar game as well. That'll be fun. But no, I like their schedule. It does get a little tougher towards the end of the schedule. Weeks 15 and 16 are really tough. They host the Patriots and then at the Saints in week 16. That week 15 matchup could decide who gets first place in the AFC. It really, really could. Now, I don't know if the Patriots are going to be as good this year. I think they'll be a little bit down, but Bill Belichick and the Patriots. We know who they are, and that could decide who gets first place in the AFC. That's a really intriguing matchup. Really intriguing. So I have them going 13-3. We'll get to the record 13-3, and I do have them actually beating the Patriots in week 15, and I have them taking first place in the AFC. They will be they'll be the first place team in the AFC Playoffs this season. 13-3 for the Steelers. I think they're going to be really good. really, really good. Now on to the Ravens. I think they will be in the playoff hunt, but I do think they will fall short ultimately of the playoffs this season. It's really, really interesting with the Ravens this year. I don't know how it's going to play out. Obviously they've got Lamar Jackson, and I don't know what Lamar Jackson is. I don't know. And I don't know what type of dynamic he will bring to the Ravens. I don't think he's ready to start. I don't think he's ready to start. But I think, he's got such hype built around him. And I think, that he was taken in the first round and that they're kind of, who knows what we're going to get out of Joe Flacco. Let's reevaluate Joe Flacco for just a minute. What are we going to get out of him? He had that one great year where he led him to the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl, but what really is Joe Flacco? And they've got a tough schedule as well. Their December schedule is brutal. Brutal. At the Falcons, at the Chiefs, at the Chargers. They do host the Buccaneers and the Browns. So chalk up the Browns in Week 17. That'll probably be a win. The Bucs, you probably will be a win. Who knows? With the whole Jameis Winston controversy this season, who knows what the Buccaneers are going to be. But you got to go at the Falcons, at the Chiefs, at the Chargers. All in December. It's brutal. It's brutal. And I just think that the whole Lamar Jackson controversy will weigh heavily on that locker room. I think if they don't start the season 3-0, 2-1, 3-1, 3-2 maybe, I think if they start anything less than that, the fans will start to call for Joe Flacco's head and want to put in Lamar Jackson. And I don't blame him. But I don't think he's ready. I think he needs some more time. I think he's going to be a great prospect. He could be a franchise quarterback in this league, but I don't think it's this year. I don't think it's this season. So I think the Ravens will be 9-7. They'll be in the playoff hunt. They're going to be right there. Don't get me wrong. They'll be right there. They do have a pretty workable schedule. They do host the Saints at home. They do have a lot of tough games on the road though. I mentioned at the Panthers, at the Falcons, at the Chiefs, and at the Chargers. They have a lot of tough games on the road, but they have the Saints at home. They have the Broncos at home. But I don't know if I love their schedule. I don't know about Lamar Jackson. I think he'll be more of a distraction than a help. On to the Bengals. The Cincinnati Bengals. I have them taking third place in the AFC North. Obviously, they will be out of the playoffs at 6-10. They've got a tough opening month. Their first 6 weeks, really, first 7 weeks, really. You can look it down even down to week 7. They've got a tough month and a half to open the season. At the Colts, at the Panthers, at the Falcons, home against the Steelers, and then at the Chiefs. That's tough. I think. First of all, a lot of the reason I have some doubts about the Ravens and the Bengals is because they play the AFC West, and the AFC West I think will be one of the more competitive divisions of this season. The AFC West is tough. The Chargers have a tremendous roster. The Chiefs have a great roster. The Broncos they could be the dark horse team if they get the Case Keenum from last season, which is a crapshoot, I know, but they could be really good. So that's one of my main reasons for not loving some of these schedules for the AFC North is because they have to play the AFC West. So a really tough schedule for the Bengals to start the year off. I could see them going 0-4, 1-6 maybe, 1-5, 1-6. Maybe 2-6, 2-5, but really, really tough really tough opening month. You know, I was saying earlier, I don't know what Joe Flacco is. I don't know what Andy Dalton is. Like, are we sure Andy Dalton's an NFL quarterback? Are we sure? Are we sure? I mean, he's had the benefit of a pretty good defense his first couple of seasons in the league, and that carried him to a bunch of wins. But has he played well in the playoffs? What has he done? You know, I don't know what I'm getting from Andy Dalton week to week. I don't. Now they have, you know, AJ Green, but I don't know. I don't know what Andy Dalton is. He's kind of proven what he is. He's proven what he is, and maybe most importantly, he's proven what he isn't. He's proven what he isn't. And I don't know if he's a franchise quarterback. I don't know. Maybe. I have them, like I said, 6-10. 6-10 for the Bengals out of the playoffs. And finally, the lowly Cleveland Browns. Whew! Cleveland Browns. What do I say about the Cleveland Browns? First of all, Baker Mayfield is a tremendous story. I mean, he's a tremendous story. You know, he's kind of got that Johnny Manziel type of feel where he's going to put a lot of eyes on the screen, a lot of butts in the seats. He will. But I don't think he's ready to start. I don't think he's Johnny Manziel. I do not think he's Johnny Manziel. I think he's more talented than Johnny Manziel. I do. And I think he could work in this league. I think he could work. I think he needs help. He needs help and he needs time. He needs help and he needs time. Now they're gonna have a really interesting go of it the first of the season. They host the Steelers in week 1 and then go on the road against the Saints in week 2. And they're gonna go 0-2. They're gonna go 0-2 to start the season. And if those Browns fans, by week 3 at home, they're going to be chanting Baker Mayfield's name. Week 3, especially if they're losing to the Jets. If they're 0-2 and are losing to the Jets at home in week 3, Baker Mayfield, Baker Mayfield, you know it's going to happen. You know it's going to happen. And at that point, will Hugh Jackson feel pressured to put in his number 1 draft pick? You got to think so, right? You've got to think so. I don't think he's ready. I think he'll work eventually, but I don't think he's ready this season. They said they have a tough opening schedule, home against the Steelers and then at the Saints. Other than that, it is pretty workable. But I just don't think they're going to get the quarterback play necessary to be successful in this division. I don't. They play the Saints and the Texans on the road, but other than that, they do have the Chargers at home. They have the Chiefs at home. They have the Falcons at home. They have the Panthers at home. They do have a workable schedule. Those are tough games, but they are at home. They are at home. But we'll see. If I was the coach, if I was Hugh Jackson, I would want to ride Tyrod Taylor as long as I could. As long as I could. He's right now at this point better than Baker Mayfield. He is. He is. But is he going to feel pressure to put in his number 1 draft pick? And that's what I worry about. That's what I worry about. So I have them going 5-11. The Browns 5-11. So to recap, Steelers 13-3. They will win the AFC. They're going to be in the AFC Championship. Don't kid yourself. They're really good. 13-3 for the Steelers. First in the AFC playoffs. The Ravens in the playoff hunt at 9-7. The Bengals will fall short of the playoffs at 6-10. And the Browns coming in at 5-11. They'll win some games. The Browns will. The Browns will win games. They'll win games, but I don't see it from Baker. Not yet anyway. Not yet. 5-11 for the Browns. That's going to do it for today's edition of Nail in the Coffin podcast. Thanks so much for listening. Don't forget to leave a like rating down below and subscribe to the channel. I will be doing much more frequent podcasts. I'm hoping every other day. Today is a Tuesday, but I hope to get on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule. But I will be coming out with more frequent Nail in the Coffin podcast episodes. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks so much. It's been the Nail in the Coffin podcast. I'm Jason Ball. See you later.